organization for this honor that I should come and deliver this paper as a lead discussant, sitting with the array of these great men and women really gives me the urge to know that we have a future in this country. And so if you would permit me, because they say the time is short, let me stand on existing protocol. So I recognize the people on the high table, and more especially, I recognize you, the ladies and gentlemen. Now, this discussion, this paper, this speech, this address, anyone you prefer, please take, is given by Kenneth Okonkwo under the theme of civil society, democracy, governance reforms, building sustainable partnership for national development. Now, I am very glad when I was invited, because the whole idea is that the whole civil society are coming together as one under this umbrella. United, we will always stand. Divided, we will always fall. The greatest unity of civil society is in their unity. The greatest strength of civil society is in their unity. If you allow them to break you up, they will take you out. So this paper examines the intersection of civil society, democratic consolidation, and governance reforms. It explores the challenges, the opportunities in building sustainable partnerships among government institutions, civil society organizations, and private sector to drive development. Drawing from Nigerians' democratic history, reform efforts, and development strategies, this paper is going to advocate for an inclusive governance, where the civil society will not just be a watchdog, but will be a co-architect in national progress. The civil society has to step up, because our journey from 1999, our democratic journey, as you can notice, has made some mild achievements, but with significant challenges. So as we grapple with our myriad of problems, corruption, weak institutions, insecurity, inequality, poverty, the time for governance reforms cannot be more urgent than now. So this is the time that we should go beyond consultation to collaboration. We have to go beyond tokenism to true partnerships. And we have to go beyond reactive advocacy to strategic partnership. Because if we want to build a democratic future, it has to be a future that will align the democratic values with inclusive governance, so that we can build a just, prosperous, and united nation. So I have come to awaken your mind, the civil society, because from the colonial days, it has been resistance groups. That's what the civil society was doing from the colonial days. You hear about Pai Michael Imodu. They were fighting for independence. During the military regimes, it was advocacy groups. You can hear my brother now, that went from jail to jail, advocating for democracy. For just being an advocate, you can be charged for treason. Nobody will pray for military regime. I don't pray for it. But if the civilian dictatorship becomes military regime, then why do you think people are adoring like the military leader of Burkina Faso? It is because their dream about democracy, the promises that were made to them, they cannot see. But in all honesty, if you know what military regime is, you will be very careful. I know what we're passing through in democracy, but I'll just tell you like a statement about military regime. Military regime is the government of one person. Forget the issue of your hearing military regime. No, it's the government of head of state. There is nothing like military regime. It's the government of one person. The decree is written by one person. The decree is signed by one person. The courts are set up by one person. And it is that what that one person wants that is done. Forget anything like, during the military regime, the military suffered most than even the civilians. If you go to the officers' mess then, during Abacha's regime, you won't see 2-3 officers coming together. Because they will say that they are planning coup. And they will just take you there and tie you in the stake and shoot you. People like us that will say our mind, we don't wish military regime to our worst enemy. Because it's either I say my mind or I keep quiet. Decree is simply the order of the head of state put in writing. When you hear Armed Forces Ruling Council, during Abacha's regime, I don't know whether that council met for even one day. They made a law ousting the power of democratic institutions. And the Attorney General of the Federation was not aware of the law. Onagoruwa was in Lagos. Gani won him. And they announced the law. And he was like, what happened? I just want you to understand that military regime is not the government of the military or the government of the cabinet. It is the government of one man. From the days of Aristotle, they warned us about ceding our sovereignty to a human being with all the disorders of the human mind and the affections. An authority that should be ceded to law alone. So don't pray for military regime. Why would we pray for military regime when we can, as a people, assert our right in a civilian regime? Now, let us start by reminding you that civil society is the aggregate of the non-governmental organizations linked together by common interest and collective activity. So if you do not have common interest, you cannot have collective activity. The whole idea of civil society is that you must have to have common interest and you must have to have collective activity. As you can see, the civil society includes the NGOs, CBOs, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations. Then you have trade unions and student movements. You have independent media. You have professional associations, etc. So most of you here belong to these groups. Now, what are the functions of the civil society? In a country that the civil society is alive, the government will be afraid of the people. But in a country where the civil society is not alive, the people will be afraid of the government. I've come here to tell you that you need to rise up and demand your rights. The civil society should not be seen as an adversary to the government, but an indispensable ally. Indispensable ally in nation building. The first function of the civil society, watchdog. Watchdog. Monitoring government activities, exposing corruption, advocating transparency. Civil society fought and God's Freedom of Information Act When they were fighting, you thought that if they give them this Freedom of Information Act, you will not hear anything corruption again. They will expose everything. For where? They fought. When the government saw that if they don't give this Freedom of Information Act, there will be a problem. They gave them Freedom of Information Act. Then what is happening? Laws will not save us in this country. Nigeria has more laws than almost every country in the world. Laws do not transform to rule of law. Rule of law is ensuring the implementation of the law that will ensure that the major function of law, which is orderliness in a society, is achieved. So if there is any law and there is no implementation of the law, there is no interpretation of the law in accordance with the wordings of the law, it will bring confusion and anarchy. Rule of law is meant to bring orderliness. I'm tired of churning up laws every day. The civil society, Zukwani Ike. Law. The one you have, how much have you used it? The people in the National Assembly, with respect to some of them here, Constitution amendments now a ritual. Every session, there will be constitutional amendments. They will go to every zone. They will wear shebi, some zones. They will wear shebi. They will dance. After the amendment, after the suggestions, they will go home and select the one or two that will not pinch them. And all the other ones will be. So let us become the watchdog we are supposed to be. If we are not the watchdog, there's no way they will promote us to become collaborators. Two, the civil society has it as a duty to be the voice of the voiceless. You have to amplify the voices of the marginalized people, and you have to advocate for social justice for them. I'm excited, when I hear civil society like Serap. As a matter of fact, when they came in, I thought they were going to be like the other people. They look at what they are doing. Impressive. There are some social activists that will go to Benue, even when the Benue governor will tell them not to come. They will go. That is being a watchdog. And they will be exposing, they will be magnifying the voices of the marginalized. It is the job of the civil society. The next job is capacity builder. You're meant to build the capacity of the people through education, training, and mobilization. The next job is that you have to be a service provider. Wherever the government runs short in providing service, it is the duty of the civil society to fill up the gap, especially in education, in health, in infrastructural issues. I remember those days when we were coppers. We would take knife and go and start cutting grasses on the road. There is something you can do. That you can't stand here and be talking does not mean you have nothing to do. You can cut grass somewhere just to prove that you are doing something for your nation. I did it as a copper. What has he removed from me? And I'm not saying when you want to go and do it, you go and bring all the media people so that they will come and see you. You will cut. Then you announce, copper, I am cutting grass for people. My kind of faith does not even allow that one. So what we are saying is that the functions of the civil society, I have told you. When you talk about democracy, I would have loved to say that the threat to our democracy is not hypothetical, it is real. Because the challenges of democracy is there. Erosion of public trust in institutions. You have the rise of authoritarian tendencies. You have weak electoral system, electoral malpractices. and weak institutions. And you have shrinking civic space marked by repressive laws. Just look at that. They will tell you defamation law. They will use it so that when you say anything that does not favor any leader, so that they can send you to jail. They just want to shrink the civic space. When you say a man that is corrupt, when you say he's corrupt, you have said the fact. You're not saying anything wrong. They will say defamation. Now, let me talk about electoral malpractice, because we witnessed some. In 2023, we were there. We went home to vote. Of course, in Lagos, some people were denied PVC outrightly because they felt they were going to vote for a particular way. In Lagos, some people were denied to come out to vote because they felt they were going to vote in a particular manner. In Lagos and in the whole Nigeria, after the vote, they told us that the presidential election only cannot go. You saw some presiding officers saying it openly, that they were told not to transmit this. Then later on they say technical glitch. Which technical glitch? Can the machine choose the election to glitch on? 3 elections on the same day. And then the machine now selected only one to glitch on. Please, Nigerians are brilliant. When you want to talk to Nigerians, try to be sensible so that the international community does not look at us as fools. That is why the international community concluded that that election was less than the required standard. So we have to, the challenge is that we have to go into civic education, you, the civil society and political literacy. You have to go into intergenerational dialogue and youth participation management. You have to do it as civil society. Look at what the not too young to run. Look at what they have achieved. If somebody that is 18 years is old enough to know who should govern him, my own philosophy is that the person that is 18 years is old enough to stand for election. I've heard people who are 20 years who are elected into the assembly in foreign countries. You're telling a man, oh, you are old enough to know who will govern you, but you're not old enough to govern. Leadership is a gift, just like acting and all those things. There are people who are 60 years, 70 years, they cannot lead. There are people who, when you see them from childhood, you will see that leadership trait in them. Why deny them that opportunity? Wait. Don't thank me yet. Yes. Don't thank me yet. Wait. I said, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So what we are saying is that, and I have to go into conclusion because, time factor. So they don't withdraw their thank you. Just know that I wanted to tell you about national development and about the sustainable partnership. But I want you to know that as a matter of concluding, I want you to understand that we need to foster a democratic culture in this country, rooted in transparency, inclusiveness, and innovation. We need to foster democratic reforms. We need to advocate more for the people so that they will understand that the civil society is not an enemy to the government, but an ally. And we need to build a democratic future where democracy is deepened, where governance is reimagined, and where people are served. The institutions in Nigeria today are built to serve the powerful, not the people. We have to reimagine that. The whole idea of democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. Once it is not for the security and welfare of the people, then it is not democracy. So I want you to know that this civil society do not diminish your individual self. When God wants to change a system, he uses only one person, not two. One person that dares to be alone. You may be the person now listening to me. Please bring out your quality, your capacity, and capabilities. Let's unite our strength. And let's insist that 2027 election will be free, fair, credible. We can do it. Let us do it. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you.